Okay, so I wanted to show you guys a little bit about my choice of footwear. I have a couple different shoes that I wear when I lift, and we're going to talk about one of them today. You can see there are two different pairs of varying use and quality here of my Converse Chuck Taylors, and probably easy to pick the one that's about 8 years old. These guys have had a long time. And like a lot of Converse shoes that the Chuck Taylor design, when you first put them on, they can look a little too bright, in my opinion, a little bit too new looking. And I still remember the day when I walked into the gym wearing this pair, bright blue and bright white on the cap toe there. Today, a little bit of a different story. I thought this would be kind of a fun, not quite a review, but just kind of an overview of how the wear pattern has affected these shoes and why I finally tossed them out. So before I get into it, these two designs, you can tell I kind of have a standard shoe design that I go for. I like the really low cut shoe. It doesn't quite matter so much. I'm not playing basketball. I don't really need the ankle support. And I don't think you're going to get a whole lot, honestly, when there isn't a lot of rigidity in the canvas anyway. But I like the low cut just for the look. But really, the whole reason I'm into Chuck Taylors and Converse is that the sole and the shoe is very flat. Okay, there isn't an arch support. There isn't a lot of things going on to help with the heel cushioning or running dynamics or these different things. It is a very flat, very basic shoe that has remained unchanged, I think, for many decades. So it's a really cool shoe. It's tough to find that in today's world. A lot of people are trying to find unique arch supports or dynamic this, kinetic that, different things that are supposed to make you, more athletic or a better runner. There may be some truth to some of that, but when it comes to the gym, specifically weightlifting and even more specifically deadlifting, you need to have a flat sole. You don't want to have any kind of arch support. You don't want to have any kind of synthetic aids, so to speak. You just want to have a flat sole, because ideally to transfer load into the ground, your foot needs to be, well, I guess I have a foot, I can show my foot. Your foot needs to be nice and flat to the ground. You don't want to have it rolling around or having that potential for things rolling around when you are lifting heavy weight. And to transfer load effectively, you need to have a very clear path to the ground. And that's why a flat sole in these shoes is fantastic for deadlifting. And that's why over the years, this became my deadlift day choice of footwear. So this guy, to kind of show you what happened over the years, obviously not a whole lot happened on the sole. I got a little dirty. I tend to go barefoot. I don't really wear socks. That's kind of a personal choice. The rest of the canvas obviously faded. This used to be very much a navy blue. And even though it didn't see the light of day too often, enough chalk from lifting and just dirt, grime, etc. got into it and did its damage. But the big thing is this hole, and this looks like an enormous hole now that I kind of really take the moment to look at it. I was still wearing the shoe when it was, well, it felt like it was smaller. Now it's pretty darn big. And the reason that I kept wearing it is that I didn't really care. I kind of, partly liked the fact that it was torn as a lifting shoe. I thought that was kind of cool, but also it didn't really affect my performance, especially on deadlift day. However, when I started to lift more on, using it at one point for leg day in general and doing lunges, there were times when my foot, my little toesies would pop out of here, and then it became dangerous and a tripping hazard, and that's why these were unfortunately retired. But interestingly, the other shoe, this is the left shoe, hole pattern is similar but not as pronounced, and so that's kind of a little feedback for me that there's a possibility that I have a little bit different kinematics on my right side, which I'm aware of, and not something I think is a big issue, but in my earlier running days it was, and so there was probably some overlap with that movement dysfunction for me personally and when I was wearing these the most. Wear pattern, because I wasn't running in these particular shoes, we're not going to see a whole lot of difference on the wear pattern. Pretty typical, but when you think about the fact that I've put countless miles on these guys just from walking around on a gym and beating them up, not caring for them in any real sense, because I'm weightlifting. I don't really care about taking care of the shoes so much. I want them to work and function for me. That being said, pretty darn good durability on the sole. Which brings me to the new pair. These, when I first got them, they were so black and so white that I thought they were too pretty to take into the gym. And even though they were a replacement for these, I kept using these for months after I got the new ones because they were just too beautiful looking. Personal problem, trying to get over it, obviously. I did, and at this point they have a little bit of a mild patina of dirt grime and gym seasoning, which I think is awesome. And these are now the standard weightlifting, especially deadlift day shoes. So that's what I wear in the gym. And as I mentioned, the key takeaway is that because these have a flat sole, they are just perfect for a deadlift day. And whether you like the low cut or the high cut, I don't think it makes much of a difference. This is kind of my thing. You'll be seeing more of them, and in another video, maybe even tomorrow, maybe I'll just kind of go through all three of my shoes and kind of give you a little overview of what I'm wearing and why, because there's always a functional purpose behind them. Okay guys, thanks for your attention. We will see you soon.